UF.org, published in September 2014, a study revealed that 17.5% of newly licensed RNs will quit within their first year of work, and a shocking 33.5% will quit in their second year, which is equivalent into 1 in every 3 will quit. Have you ever met a nurse who seemed maybe distracted or disconnected when you asked her a question, maybe a little rude? Having knowledge of behind the scenes struggles that nurses deal with daily can help you have a better understanding the issues that they most must overcome to help you deal with your problems. Right here on this slide is a demonstration. So I told you the statistics from 2014. This is a future one, 2020. Right here you see this is the supply of nurses that we have, but this is the demand. So there's a big gap difference in it. That's just in 1 year how much a big difference that we're going to have. Through my experience working with nurses from multiple departments, I get firsthand knowledge of how challenging it can be to work efficiently with a smile on your face and to have a lot of obstacles that are out of your control. At the end of my speech, you'll have knowledge of five issues that nurses deal with daily. First, I'm going to talk about gaining and retaining staff. Second, I'm going to talk about workplace violence and hazards. And last, I'm going to talk about bullying and harassment. All 5 issues are very important, but the first one I'm going to start with is gaining and retaining staff. The turnover rate for nurses is very high, which just means they constantly come and go. According to a website called nursingworld.org, there's an article titled Nurse Staffing, published in 2014, that states appropriate nurse staffing contributes to improved patient outcome and greater satisfaction for both patients and staff. So in easier terms, that just means if we had enough nurses to deal with the staff, they wouldn't be so tired. We wouldn't have as many quitting. You get your standard 40 hours a week, but you never really just work 40 hours. There's always people getting sick and there's always emergencies, so nurses are always needed. According to the New York Times, an article written on September 21st, 2019 by Amy Ortiz, she said 65,000 nurses from Tenet healthcare hospitals in the United States went on a 24-hour strike that started at 7 a.m. to protest current patient to nurse ratio. So this is an actual picture from the protest of people who are on strike. They're just trying to pretty much get everyone to understand, like, how can we really take care of you if you're not giving us the proper amount of people, tools, the proper amount of rest time. So then I'd like to transition to my second point, since we covered retaining and gaining staff, which is workplace violence and hazards. So let me go back to this slide. So this is just kind of a picture of the various things that you deal with. Right here you'll see there's some things that maybe you already know. Hazards, chemical spills, getting contaminated by a needle. If you get pricked, you can end up with a really deadly virus. Even something as simple as a sneeze in your face, maybe you're just like, what? But no, droplets can cause viruses, which is a very big deal. As far as violence, sometimes you get patients who are on restricted diets and they're not happy about that, and they will curse at you and they will throw their food at you. They're just not happy. Other things, sometimes you have patients who are not mentally stable or fit to make decisions, so it's court mandated for them to have a certain procedure done. Something as simple as putting an IV in them can turn into a really huge fight because to them, they don't have the capacity to understand you're helping them, and you just look like an enemy to them. Another hazard, which maybe you don't think about, are people like disgruntled ex-employees who have revenge in their mind. At the end of the day, your job is just to protect the patient no matter what they choose to do. Since we covered violence and hazard, I'd like to move on to the last, but maybe the most important topic, which is bullying and harassment. So nurses deal with this daily, whether they know it or not. Some examples of it can be something called clicking up, where nurses kind of gather together and exclude another nurse out, which kind of makes you feel like you don't belong there, which also adds to nurses leaving, the turnaround rate. Another issue is sometimes seniority makes you feel more entitled. You can so the new nurses should do all the dirty work and you can just relax, which is not fair. As we wrap up our speech, I'd like to reflect on all 5 of these issues that I talked about. And as a reminder, I spoke about retaining and gaining staff, violence and hazards, and bullying and harassment. Although one can argue that nurses have it really easy, you work 3 days a week, you get paid really well, you have the union behind your back, it can be hard trying to deal with all those issues and trying to work like if you're happy with a smile on your face, but you're getting bullied and you're getting talked down to for standing up for your morals and your ethics and all your beliefs. So I would like to close with a quote from Muhammad Ali, and it states, I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit, suffer now, and live the rest of your life as a champion. Thank you.